Hi, I'm Jim Riley, and welcome to All the Right Connections. I have two very special guests today. James Reynolds, President of Mid-Hudson Cablevision.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Jim.
How are you, Jim?
It's 2010.
2010.
That's right.
John Lednick, an old dear
you?
friend of mine. Very good. This is the only way I get to see John Lednick if we have a meeting and wind up on television. And your title, John, so the people know.
General Manager.
General Manager. Not the Red Sox. General Manager, Mid-Hudson Cablevision. James, we need to talk about some serious things. The economy's been such, it's been very, very tough for people. And I know you're very concerned about your subscribers and how they fare in this economy. So let's start out and discuss some of those issues.
Well, I think the economy over the last year has been very difficult for everybody in businesses and in general. And I've felt that, we are very fortunate to operate a business that provides services which, people really rely on. And particularly in difficult economic times when people are spending more time at home, the services that we deliver, entertainment, information services, voice services, all of those, I think, play a very important role. And because we know that everybody is looking at, trying to contain their budget for the communication costs, monthly communication costs, whether it be for video services or internet services or phone services, we've been looking at ways to try to help people save money. We have a slogan we use: "Get connected, save money,"
right.
And that's really the focus that we're aiming at right now. We have what we call the triple play, which is the digital cable, high-speed internet, and the voice-over internet phone or cable phone. And the combination of those three really allows people to save money on the services compared against an a la carte selection of those services. In addition, we know that the use of the cable phone helps to reduce the monthly expense for phone calls. There's no more long-distance phone charges.
Right.
So those dollars are saved, and they can be allocated towards, a faster internet connection or some other service. But we've spent a lot of time and a lot of money building the platform to deliver the technology, and now we're looking at ways to help put the services in packages to help people save and work our way through this difficult economic time.
I think that's a very good point because, as you know, all of the people who provide services to you, the broadcasters, and we need to clear up this myth that they're free, that you get them free,
right,
and then redistribute them and charge for them. Tell us about some of those costs and the impact on your business and how you're trying to offset those costs to your subscribers.
Well, when the cable industry, the ironic thing to me is that when the cable industry first began, it was really started by entrepreneurs who thought who lived in an area or knew of an area where the broadcast signals, because there was no satellite back in the 60s, no satellite program, no HBO or ESPN via satellite. It was all broadcast, so it was the major centers, New York, Philadelphia, cities all around the country, that had broadcast stations, and they had network affiliates in all those markets. But you get 40, 50 miles outside of that market, and then you have some topography with mountains and valleys and things like that, and you couldn't get reception. So the cable operators came along and they said, we'll put up an antenna, we'll import distance signals, and then we'll run lines down to all the homes. So they actually helped the broadcasters extend their market. And so now the broadcasting industry always had the business model to sell advertising. That's how
they made their money.
That's how they paid for the programming and made a business and made a profit. And in the last few years, the advertising dollars have collapsed because of the general economic decline. So they're looking for other revenue sources, and now they've come to the cable operators and are asking us to pay per subscriber. Clearly, that's an impact on our subscribers because it's a brand new expense to us. So we try our best to negotiate the best terms possible, but that is a brand new expense for us. And that's on top of all of the expenses we face on an annual basis from the big satellite programmers or cable programmers, ESPN.
HBO, ESPN, all of those.
Yes, network.
Yes, network is a big one in our area, John.
Right.
The
You're right about
sports networks, one of the big problems, and everybody loves sports. Whatever your team is, that's great. But the contracts that they're signing with the athletes now, that's a trickle-down effect back to the subscriber indirectly because they in turn charge us more. We in turn have those higher expenses. So, I think there's going to have to reach a time when they put some sort of limits on some of these contracts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, John, this is a very good introduction, I think, to what we want John to talk about. Given those concerns and the need to find some way to really keep a hold on those costs for your subscribers, you've come up with some ideas on how to make that more effective and cost-saving to the subscribers. So, John Lednick, if you give us some of those details.
Sure. As James mentioned, our subscriber base are really concerned with the costs of their budget and things that they actually have to pay. So, as James mentioned, we try every year to keep that cost as low as possible, keep the rates as best as we can in relationship to our costs, which are passed on, as James mentioned, from the programmers. That being said, we've seen many cable companies raise their rates substantially in 2010 because of that very reason. What we've decided to do, we've decided to create an environment for the consumer where they can lock in their monthly cost for 2 years. And that's a very good deal for them because they could receive all the packages that they want, all the triple play, all the programming, and yet in 2011 they know they're not going to receive a rate increase. Mm-hmm. Plus, we have a very good price for them if they do lock in now. So what we're doing is we're going to advertise that in the coming months, that all the packages that we have, if you currently our customer that has a package, you can lock in for 2 years. If you want to upgrade to that package, we have a very lucrative offer for that. You could lock that in for 2 years.
Right. Once you move up to whatever you think you want to improve, to have more reception and more different services, you then can lock that price in.
Right. And if you take, as James had mentioned, if you take the triple play, for example, the VoIP phone, the high speed, and a cable product, what you're doing is you're bundling all those together, so you're already receiving a reduction from the a la carte price.
Right.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to add more of a reduction on there and then lock it in. So we feel that is going to be very successful in our community with everyone having savings on their minds.
Right. Terribly important. James, right. I hate to say it, but I've spoken about this in the past on this show, that I think that combination of high-speed service, cable phone, and the television is just extraordinary. I mean, that can really help you control your costs at home.
Right. The thing that we're focused on very much is that we know that there are a number of other offers out there in the marketplace, and some of them promise for a very low rate to connect you to hundreds of TV channels, and we know that sometimes customers will say, you know what, I could probably save some money by switching to a different service, and it's a lower cost than cable. But I would ask them to look at the details of the offer and what you really get, because if you compare the packages, what we try very hard to do is to be on par or below apples to apples package with the competitors. Right. So and also the competitors do not have any high-speed internet product that is even close to what we offer. We have just launched a brand new package of internet services that is brought on by an upgrade to our whole data network. And this will allow customers to virtually get twice as fast a connection for an additional $5 per month. And you know, what's happening is that a lot of people are using that fast internet connection at home to really help them be more productive in their work and organizing their life. So the speed is very important, and we're rolling out those new packages to help give people a true advantage.
I think that's terribly important. Again, I find with the phone, television service, and high speed, that is such a blessing because it gives you access to almost anything that you want to do, either through entertainment, communication, or through work. And I think that's terribly important to see that advantage.
Yeah, I mean, our thought is that we want to communicate to our customers that we're going to make attractive packages and pricing. We want to keep them as customers, and you know, this concept of locking in the service for a period of time. They're making a commitment to take the service. We're making a commitment to offer it at a lower price and lock it in, and that's a combination that helps you know, with the retention of subscribers, and that's what we're very interested in.
Right. John, when you look at that, it's win-win.
Oh, it's a,
for the customers, for the company, everybody benefits.
It is a win-win. So this really applies to even existing customers. If you're an existing customer and you have a package with us and you call us, we will discuss the lock-in situation with you. So we want to help not only new customers, but all our existing subscriber base. We want to reach out to them so that they realize, you know, they could take advantage of this lock-in price and know. And it's very important for a lot of families to know what their monthly cost is going to be for that service for the next 2 years, and that helps them budget not only cable, you know, but their whole family budget. It's guaranteed.
I think John makes a very important point, James, and that is we all know about providing incentives to new customers. Makes sense for a business to do that.
Sure.
But I think what's terribly important here is you're making the same opportunities available to your long-time loyal customers. Yeah, very, very important.
One of the things that's, I think, largely misunderstood too is that, you know, the economies of scale apply here. The basic economic theories that you know, the more customers you have, the greater your buying power. And we don't enjoy the same pricing for services like ESPN or Discovery Channel or, you know, the Yes Channel that the larger companies do because they have more customers.
Right.
We work with a programming cooperative, which is a number of smaller systems across the country all came together to represent one block for buying power. So we do everything that we can to try to manage that monthly fee that we're charged by the programmer, and then also to use that for negotiations in next year's rate increases.
Right.
And but still, you know, you have to manage that process very carefully. But then I think in difficult economic times, you have to have some sensitivity, pricing sensitivity, because otherwise certain consumers are just not able to make that happen. So we're looking at that very carefully and trying to be very cautious about that.
John, we were saying before we went on the air, John and I were looking for you. We wondered where James was because we had an appointment. We were going to do this program. But the fact is, John, he's on the phone daily trying to work these contracts and keep the cost down as best he can so that the consumer, our subscribers, can have the benefit of that effort. Isn't that true?
That's absolutely true. It's an ongoing daily process that we go through with the programmers. You may have seen in the news recently the struggles with some of these larger MSOs with programmers. For example, Time Warner and Fox, and then you had down in Cablevision and the Food Network down in Long Island. These are all because of the programming costs have reached a level that is very prohibitive for cable companies to pass that on to their subscribers. the programmers know, as James had mentioned, that we're not going to take those programs off. They already know that.
Right.
Because people are acclimated to it and they like it, like the Food Network, for example. People love the Food Network and people love Fox News. So the programmers know that. So what we try to do, as James had mentioned, and James works very hard in doing this, is to constantly try to do his best and our best to keep these costs down. If we can keep them down, then of course the rate increases to people will be a lot lower.
Yeah.
And that's our goal.
Keep the costs
right
under control. And again, I don't want to put you on the spot because I'm not sure we're prepared for that today. You don't have the details on when that advertising and the information are going to be out so that people can find out. It's coming, though, fairly soon.
It's coming very soon. We just put it all together, and it shouldn't be much longer to release.
But there will be specific plans to control these costs.
Right.
And I like that whole notion of locking in prices. I think that's very, very important.
Yeah. I think another goal, I mean, that's certainly an important goal for us, but another goal that we don't lose sight of, and that is that we want to deliver to our customers the cutting edge services.
Right.
And when I say cutting edge, I mean the latest and the best services. You look at our data network. We have dramatically increased the speed at which people can upload and download information, and we're going to continue down that path because we know that as time goes on, as content becomes richer on the internet, people are going to want to have access to that. Just today, I think Apple's announcing this new tablet device, which is apparently they're saying it could be as important a product as the iPod or the iPhone. And if that's true, and it's a little larger platform to receive content on, that means the speeds are going to have to be there to enjoy that product.
Yeah.
On the video front, we've completed this digital conversion. We offer, hundreds of titles of video on demand, and that's really important in this economic environment because, for example, if somebody has HBO with us, they get HBO on demand for free. And if you go to HBO on demand, you have all of their special programs, you have all of their series, but there's another category that says movies, and it's the whole library of HBO movies, and you just scroll down tons of titles. There's no additional charge. It's not like $3.99 if you watch a movie.
Right.
In addition, there's all this other content so that customers, in the privacy of their own home, can have access to all of this rich content. So we're committed and focused to deliver, those kinds of leading services to the customers and keeping that customer service experience
very important.
First rate.
The two problems. One is controlling costs. The other is having the latest and greatest when it comes to those available services.
And
go ahead, John.
I was just going to say those technologies that James had mentioned are not inexpensive. The company not only devotes its expertise to add these services, but it's very costly to the company to upgrade and keep the system at the state of the art level, and to have all these very, very attractive services is very costly. So that's another area that we try to work
and that's
on to
why
keep the
these
costs
lock-in opportunities are going to benefit. Again, it's a win-win for the company and the subscriber. John, one thing, and I harp on this a lot, so please forgive me bringing it up again, but talk about the service that the company provides as well. That's the thing that's always impressed me about this company. You have trouble with video services, free service.
Right.
It's remarkable.
It is remarkable in this day and age with the cost of running a truck to somebody's home. If you add that cost up, it's not cheap to run a truck to somebody's home. And a lot of consumers realize that if they call for another service, say plumbing or electric, the cost of just going there is going to be high. We have free service calls, and for the most part, 99% of the calls are free. And basically, we've maintained that. We've maintained that if a customer has a problem, even if it's their problem in a lot of cases, we don't we don't pass that cost on to them. But if you were to add that in with the other costs that we have, that's a very, to maintain free service calls is a very costly part of our operation. But we haven't changed that.
Right.
We still want to maintain that.
That's something you've been committed to right from day one, James.
Yeah, but if you look at the environment, when the business first started, we were offering, 10 to 13 analog television signals. And there wasn't a lot of, complexity in terms of, solving a customer's problem. Now we have our technicians go into an environment where people have, high-end computers connected to the internet. They have, phones all over the house that they want connected to the voice over internet phone service. They have, different TVs everywhere that they want to get all the different services on. And we've got to operate and navigate in a very complicated residential environment these days. So our technicians have to have these very expensive meters to test signal levels. Everything it's a very precise process. The signal level that we hit the customer premise with will define their experience. And so if we make sure that's a quality signal, then all of the different services we deliver will be great. I mentioned earlier that we've just upgraded our internet service so that for a small additional monthly fee, you can get virtually twice the speed, and we think that's going to be very popular. But in order to make those things possible, you have to have a technical staff that keep their skill sets sharpened, and we work very hard to make sure that when somebody goes out to solve a problem for you, that they solve it the first time. They analyze the thing correctly and they solve your problem.
Right. The other thing is, John, and I know you've had a lot to do with this, John, they also know how to work with a customer. They have a very, very good approach to being very positive and supportive as customers take on either new services or solve some of these technical issues. You've done well in that regard.
Well, I think we have. The key is that it's a learning experience for the customer as well. When you put all these products in their house, they have to learn how to use it.
Right.
And sometimes the technician has to, not only fix the problem, but also sort of be a teacher in a sense of how to use the digital and the VOD and the high speed, and it's only going to get more complicated. But I think when customers start to use these things, the VOD, the DVR,
right,
when they start to use these things, they just love these products.
It's
so many opportunities come through this technology.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we haven't even talked about is high definition television. I mean, this past holiday season, the stores couldn't keep these high definition TVs
off the shelves
in the store, and a lot of times what happens is that the consumer will be so excited, they'll get their TV, they'll bring it home, take it out of the box, plug it in, turn it on, and it has all these setup directions that you're supposed to follow. Right. And our technician will come in and actually have to understand all the different types of TVs and different setups and actually work with the customer to make sure that, if they get a digital box from us to deliver HD programming, that it actually works correctly. Because if it works properly, it's a fabulous experience.
Very special.
And so a lot of times we end up having to, go do a setup, and we don't mind doing that because we know if we get it right, they're going to enjoy the experience and they're going to stay.
They're going to be happy with Mid-Hudson Cablevision.
That's right.
Good.
That's the key.
I think we've got this pretty well covered for now, so I'm going to ask both of you, last thoughts, James.
Well, I would just say that we have a commitment to all the communities that we serve to continue to provide the latest in technology, and we also have a commitment to do whatever we can to help customers manage the expense of these services. We'll do everything we can to negotiate the best prices, and we're going to try to package stuff together so that it makes it easier for customers to have a more predictable environment in terms of the price, and we'll continue that as a focus even once we get through this difficult economic time.
Terrific. John?
Very good. And I think, too, that we're also committed to customer service. We want to help people to get through these times. We want to provide the best customer service we possibly can, not only with our CSRs when people call in, but also with our technical staff and the data staff and the whole company. We want to be committed to very good customer service, the best.
You've done it well. I want to thank my guest, James Reynolds, President of Cablevision. John
Always.
Lednick,
Thank
my
you.
old pal. Give me the title again. I already forgot.
General Manager.
General Manager.
Or
I was going to
Operations
make it up,
Manager,
James. I lost that. Again, James Reynolds, John Lednick, thank you so much. We want to thank you also for joining us on All the Right Connections, and we look forward to seeing you soon.